Tonight I'm investigating America's favorite hobby, pestering someone invisible until he forks over the many things you're either too lazy or cheap to afford on your own. It's a pushy little pastime I like to call prayer. Jesus once rudely remarked that the only people who pray in public are hypocrites, to which America responded, rubbish! And speaking of trash, I'm in the tackiest place in America that isn't a Roman Catholic's living room. The only way to hit a jackpot in Vegas is to get down on your knees. Now, dear, you know that's not what I meant. And probably for the price of a poker chip, I'm telling you, it's a cultural Hiroshima. Prayer is really just telling God, the divine plan you have for me is flawed and shockingly stingy. Saying a prayer the universe's most popular placebo. Just a quick fix until you can score a fistful of Oxycontin. But who are we kidding? Jesus is more forgetful than a White House staffer under oath.
Happy New Year, everybody. Well, the year is shaping up to be just like last year. The government is jealous of the internet and is trying to either keep us from it or monitor everything we do on it. Look up Black Widow. Thanks, Obama. The windstorms and floods are coming along just fine. I can't seem to attract crackpots like I used to. Oh, I did win something cool. I never win stuff, but we got a really fancy pair of ear speakers from Monster Cable, just as my old ones died. It feels like there's a stereo in my head booming away. They almost look like old-fashioned hearing aids. There's this little cone coming out of my ear when I'm wearing them. Now, when I listen to my podcast, I can finally hear how crappy my own recording sounds like compared to most of the tracks I played. I say most because not all of them are 21st century, of course. If your setup is an off-brand iPod and a $5 pair of earbuds, disregard this message. Isn't this podcast great?
Rochester, New York. A Great Lakes community inspired with pride and bonded with tradition. Our city has been the home of many innovators, and today some of the most powerful American business institutions are headquartered here. Our vision for a dynamic future based on our unique past is destined to enhance the many attributes of our great city, Rochester.
When you take a look around you, no matter where you stand, you see proud families, friends and neighbors, sharing gifts and helping hands. We're people helping people, and we're proud that we can say we're always getting better and growing stronger every day. Taking pride in Rochester, haven't you noticed? We've got it all right here at home. Nothing can stop us. Taking pride in where we're going, taking pride in who we are. Rochester, show your pride. Together we'll go far. There's a feeling of excitement. You can see it everywhere. The pride of our whole region is the heartbeat that we share. The heartbeat that we share. Taking pride in Rochester. Haven't you noticed? We've got it all right here at home. Nothing can stop us. Taking pride in where we're going. Taking pride in who show your pride. Together we'll go far. Rochester, show your pride. Together we'll go far.
What dangers threaten security in the White House? Today we examine risk in the Oval Office.
As your chief strategist, I recommend we let Social Security die unnoticed, Mr. President, with all the upcoming Supreme Court brouhaha.
Condi, wanna play a game of Risk?
What are your feelings, Dick?
Except for the occasional heart attack. I never felt better.
Come on, Dick. Willing to risk a war for peace? You be the Blue Army.
I'll play. Now we have an opportunity to move forward together. Bold changes are sometimes only possible in the wake of events which create a new consensus that allows us to transcend old ways of thinking.
Come on, Carl. I'll let you fire your Ganon. Here, take this reveal a spy card.
Okay, I'm taking back America the first chance I get.
Night Horse, you have kahunas. That's exactly why you've been given sovereignty.
If we start playing like Republicans, I'll play. But if you have too much education, you play Democratic.
Is that a slam on me switching parties, Carl?
Hey, somebody gets to be smart and somebody gets to be dumb. All I'm saying is this. If I win, it'll be because of the president.
Well, I don't think there's anyone in America who doesn't understand this president believes freedom is worth the risk. But it's a war we cannot fight on the defensive, Carl.
Direct threats require decisive action. Roll the dice.
Me first.
Mr. President, you can't put armies on America. It already belongs to my people.
My turn.
No, I'm rolling again.
No fair. You can't put armies on America and the Middle East at the same time.
Good move.
When will I get a turn?
Locust.
While you're in your last throws, why not go for Iran?
I can't even take a piss without you cheating.
While you're on a roll, W, why not drive onward into Iran?
Hey, everybody, watch this drive.
I'm gonna sing a war song.
Stuff it, Night Horse. Take that liberal therapy and understanding voodoo and flush it down the crapper.
Please stop, Night Horse. Your extraordinary rendition is tickling my fibroid.
Damn terrorists are everywhere.
Oh, Jesus, make it stop. That sound is impugning my integrity.
There, I occupy every territory. Mission accomplished.
Scalia, what are you doing here?
Good, you're here, Stalia. Grab an army. You're yellow.
What's with the screaming in here? Is Rove plugging another scoutmaster?
Dick and Scalia sitting in a spa.
Listen, Scalia.
WED in Canada. Rah, 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 Siskumba.
With O'Connor resigning, we need you on top of the imminent Downing Street hearings.
Another ride on Air Force Two? The duck hunting was lousy last time, but I think I like being on top.
strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell this lie and hurt you. Never gonna give, never gonna give, never gonna give, never gonna give. We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, love. You're too shy to say it. Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it. And if you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too glad to see. Never gonna give, never gonna give, never gonna give, never gonna give, never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell the lie and hurt you. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell the lie and hurt you. Never gonna give, never gonna give.
Where of God come from? Well, I think we have a very skewed point of view on an awful lot of things, but let's try and see where our point of view comes from. Imagine early man. Early man is, like everything else, an evolved creature, and he finds himself in a world that he's begun to take a little charge of. He's begun to be a tool maker, a changer of his environment with the tools that he's made, and he makes tools when he does in order to make changes in his environment. To give an example of the way man operates compared to other animals, consider speciation, which, as we know, tends to occur when a small group of animals gets separated from the rest of the herd by some geological upheaval, population pressure, food shortage, or whatever, and finds itself in a new environment with maybe something different going on. Take a very simple example. Maybe a bunch of animals suddenly finds itself in a place where the weather is rather colder. We know that in a few generations those genes which favor a thicker coat will have come to the fore, and we'll come and we'll find that the animals have now got thicker coats.
Rape, rape, rape. Rape, 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 rape.
Utterly amazing how many different kinds of rape there are. There's the Italian rape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quante lire? Look into my eyeballs, you will see the fire. How much lira have you got? Only a quarter? Oh, Madonna, you didn't daughter. For that, I'll have your daughter. Japanese rape, of course.
The American rape is full of hate, and we're told practically every minute of the hour. And the way we're going, we'll never be late, except for that date with impatient black power.
Beginnings of Chinese rape. Endless. One does need time, as any Englishman will explain, if only to apologize for the agonized inconvenience caused to Mother Nature's forbidden walls.
In France, of course, where fun is greedy, the women are a little more seedy, and rape is hardly ever necessary. So even if the franc is down, la plume de ma tante is always up and around. In Germany, it isn't always remembered. What with Liszt, Wagner and Tannhauser, the rape is synonymous with Fitz, bunkers and Mausers, which makes it all comparatively kinky, with gas thrown in to get rid of the stinky. In Russia, it's far too cold for anything so bold. And being notoriously political, if a trifle hypocritical, rape becomes piratical, and Czechoslovakia are far more suitable.
Which makes the whole thing rather nasty, tasteless and rather hasty. But as Jason King would say, it depends so much on what you fancy.
Squeegee, squeegee, squeegee the happy clown.
What the hell do you think you're doing? Dragging your butt through the day, selling body and soul to a bunch of bland normals? Acting stupid so they'll think you're one of them? Tired of getting all of the guilt, but none of the sex? There is a simple answer, dear friend. A glowing beacon of slack amidst the turmoil and darkness. It's J.R. Bob Dobbs, the living slack master, and his church of the subgenius. Bob brings a new destiny for the abnormal. For Bob comes to justify our sins, to unmask the conspiracy, and to get us back the slack they stole away. It's us versus them. Are you gonna fry in hell on earth alongside the pink boys? Or will you pull the wool over your own eyes and accept Bob into your mind? Repent, quit your job, slack off, and praise Bob!
Church of the Subgenius, eternal salvation, or triple your money back.
Heute!
Looks good in the sunshine. Well, hold on, 'cause I'm coming up for air. And I can't even see up here. Don't let go. Don't let go. Two hearts are beating together. I'm in love. I'm in love. Is this forever and ever? I'm in love. I'm in love. Two hearts are beating together. I'm in love. I'm in love. Is this forever and ever? I'm in love. I'm in love. Is this forever and ever? I'm in love. I'm in love. Is this forever and ever? I'm in love. I'm in
Now why again am I forsaking myself?
Frankly, I'm not comfortable trusting someone with that kind of ADD to remember which pages of the Neiman Marcus catalog I've circled before Christmas. I'm not. You have no idea the number of times I've wound up with his and her helicopters when I specifically asked for a Prada crocodile purse in green. Oops. Oh, sad, isn't it? While Jesus is absolutely obsessed with blessing the spoiled spawn of wealthy Americans, truly he dotes on them. He has yet to hear, much less answer, even one of the heartrending prayers spoken by starving tots in foreign lands. Their technique must be appalling, and that's why I'm here. To make sure that when you ask Jesus for cash, gadgets, or real estate, you don't make all the same sloppy mistakes those inept poor people must be making when they ask for, say, a bowl of rice. Because at any given moment, the Lord is listening to roughly 43 million prayers.
Right in the house, your father. Harry Blighter, Dickie Birdie, feather back on me, Sammy. Feather back on me, feather back on me, feather back on me, Sammy. Father, Hammy. Father, Hammy. Father, Hammy. Harry Jerry, hang his kite. Right in the house, your father. Harry Blighter, Dickie Birdie, feather back on me, Sammy. Took a war spin, flipped over on his Betty Harper and caught his can in the Bertie.
Do you understand that?
No, didn't get a word of it.
Sorry, old man, we don't understand your banter.
You know, something up with my banter, chap. Bally 1021, be in the custard. Bally 1021, be in the custard. Bally 1021, be in the custard. Charlie Topper's chucking a handful. Charlie Topper's chucking a handful. Sausage squad up the blue end. Cabbage crates coming over the briny. Sausage squad up the blue end. Cabbage crates coming over the briny. Charlie Toppers. Charlie Toppers.
No, sorry.
Charlie Toppers. Charlie Toppers.
No, sorry.
No, still don't get it. Harry Jerry, hang his kite. Right in the house, your father. Harry Blighter, Dickie Birdie, feathered back on his Sammy. Took a war spin, flipped over on his Betty Harper and caught his can in the Bertie. Bally 1021's got me in the custard. Charlie Topper's chucking a handful. Slow. Sausage squad up the blue end. Cabbage crates coming over the briny.
Early man, who's a toolmaker, doesn't have to do this. He can inhabit an extraordinarily wide range of habitats on Earth, from tundra to the Gobi Desert. He even manages to live in New York, for heaven's sake. And the reason is that when he arrives in a new environment, he doesn't have to wait for several generations. If he arrives in a colder environment and sees an animal that has those genes which favor a thicker coat, he says, "I'll have it off him." Tools have enabled us to think intentionally, to make things and to do things to create a world that fits us better. Now imagine an early man surveying his surroundings at the end of a happy day's toolmaking. He looks around and he sees a world which pleases him mightily. Behind him are mountains with caves in. Mountains are great because you can go and hide in the caves and you're out of the rain and the bears can't get you. In front of him there's the forest. It's got nuts and berries and delicious food. There's a stream going by which is full of water. Water's delicious to drink. You can float your boats in it and do all sorts of stuff with it.
if you want to make sure your request for potency, impotency, or omnipotency moves to the front of the queue, ahead of some pesky broad in Ecuador mewling over a flashy poncho, or teeth, you've got to be pushing! Remember the story about the squeaky wheel? Well, if you hector Jesus enough, you just might wake up to find it on a brand new Mercedes. Because eventually you will wear him down and he will cough up, oh, a cancer-free scan, or better yet, a diamond cocktail ring. That's enough praying to yourself, dear. People are starting to talk. Besides, I still don't have that darling little Prada purse in green, now do I? Chop, chop. As America's best Christian, I'm constantly reminding Jesus of all the fabulous, expensive things he's just about to give me. That is, if he loves me half as much as he keeps telling me he does.
Donkey Kong. In the game Donkey Kong, there are different levels and 4 different screens. At the first level, 2 screens are used. At the second level, 3 screens are used. 4 screens are used at the next level. If you get past this level, each successive level adds 1 more screen. However, the original 4 types of screens remain the same, but the order in which they appear will be changed randomly. The object of Donkey Kong is to save the damsel in distress from the terrible Kong. I will now proceed with my descriptions of each of the 4 different screens and the important techniques involved in getting through each of them. This game uses a joystick to move you up and down, right or left, and a jump button with which you can jump over obstacles that appear. The jump button by itself simply lifts you up and lands you in the same space. To jump and move to the right or left, you will need to move the joystick in the desired direction while pushing the jump button at the same time. The first screen is the barrel jumping screen. Kong rolls the barrels at you, and the object of this screen is to avoid the barrels while you try to reach the girl. Timing is the all-important key to making it up a ladder without a barrel falling on you. When you reach the top of a ladder, you are safe, and as long as you keep a hand on the top of the ladder, no barrels can harm you. This is important to remember, so you begin on the left and run over to the right and go up the first ladder. You'll be on the second level. Go to the left and go to the first ladder. Climb up and jump a barrel. When you go to the next ladder, climb to the top and wait. Wait for the barrel to pass by you. Just as it passes, run over to the next ladder and wait again. Just as the next barrel passes, climb quickly to the top of the ladder and wait again. If you time your climbing of the ladder in this way, you will be able to make it to the top before another barrel comes out and falls on you. So you attempt to climb between barrels. Now, when you get to the level just below Kong, there will be a small hammer at the top on the far left. You will want to go up the ladder on the far left so that you will be able to climb up and get the hammer. The hammer is very valuable because you can smash barrels with it. Smashing barrels gives you anywhere from 3 to 6 times as many points as simply jumping over the barrels. However, whenever you have the hammer, you can no longer jump or climb. You can only smash the barrels. Now when you get to the top of the ladder under the hammer will be above you and you will have to jump to get it. The hammer is timed, so use it quickly and efficiently, and on this screen or any other of the screens, whenever an extra point piece appears, such as a purse or an umbrella, be sure to get those points. Once you have the hammer, try to make your way across the screen to the ladder under the lady. When the hammer runs out, climb up to the top, wait there safely as the barrels pass, and then run to the left to the next ladder, and you'll be under the lady. Wait for the barrels to pass, and you'll be able to climb up the ladder and get to the girl. Kong will then carry her off, and the next screen will appear. The object of screen 2 is to get the building to cave in. There are 8 yellow pieces that hold the building together. There are 4 levels with 2 yellow pieces on each. You must destroy these pieces in order to win. When you walk over the pieces, they disappear. When you walk over them again, you must jump over that space you created before, or else you will fall in and die. So you must go up one side and down to the other, avoiding fireballs as you go. As you zigzag your way across the screen level by level, be sure to time your moves across and begin your climb just after a fireball passes. That way you'll have time to climb between the fireballs. Remember, you are safe at the top of each ladder. There are 2 hammers and 5 fireballs at this level, and 3 bonus point pieces on the screen.
Here's Cousin Ugg, and he's caught a mammoth. Mammoths are great. You can eat them. You can wear their coats. You can use their bones to create weapons to catch other mammoths. I mean, this is a great world. It's fantastic. But our early man has a moment to reflect, and he thinks to himself, well, this is an interesting world that I find myself in. And then he asks himself a very treacherous question. A question which is totally meaningless and fallacious, but only comes about because of the nature of the sort of person he is. The sort of person he has evolved into, and the sort of person who has thrived because he thinks this particular way. Man the Maker looks at his world and says, so who made this then? Who made this? You can see why it's a treacherous question. Early man thinks, well, because there's only one sort of being I know about who makes things, whoever made all this must therefore be a much bigger, much more powerful, and necessarily invisible one of me. And because I tend to be the strong one who does all the stuff, he's probably male.
relentless prayer, you can turn even the most tawdry little faith into a giddy orgy of game show prizes. Trust me, it's easier than Peggy Noonan after a cutty sark. First, put your hands together. It's a marvelous excuse to show off an expensive manicure. Next, look up at the clouds. And now for the fun part. Start asking.
Imported cars, deported spouses, bigger penises, smaller debt, lower weight, higher canasta scores, more greedy greed, and more luxurious luxury.
Amen. One last thing, never forget to say amen. It's like abracadabra, only Christian. And like Simon Says or Mother May I, if you forget to say it, you will lose your turn. Or be damned straight to hell, I can never remember which, whatever. I don't ask why, I just ask often. I said in green! Jesus! You'd all be in my prayers, if I only had that kind of time.
Joy and the
Buongiorno, I'm Fabio, and I'm very interested in what makes romance work. I want to share with you my recipe for a perfect evening, an evening for two lovers. When I plan a date, I want to make sure that everything is perfect for us. Music is the most important thing to set the mood for the night. When I play a special song, it's very important because it can express what I feel so perfectly. A song can speak for me when I cannot put my feelings into words. I listen to a solo and I think of a duet. When it's dark, turn on the music. I light the candles. There is no timetable for us, for the fantasy that we will make come true.
Happy! Désolé, cette ligne n'est plus en service. La personne que vous avez rejointe n'est pas disponible. Veuillez raccrocher et composer de nouveau. S'il vous plaît, raccrochez. Sayonara.
And so we have the idea of a god. Then, because when we make things, we do it with the intention of doing something with them, early man asks himself, if he made it, what did he make it for? Now the real trap springs, because early man is thinking, this world fits me very well. Here are all these things that support me and feed me and look after me. Yes, this world fits me nicely. And he reaches the inescapable conclusion that whoever made it for him. This is rather as if you imagine a puddle waking up one morning and thinking, this is an interesting world I find myself in, an interesting hole I find myself in. Fits me rather neatly, doesn't it? In fact, it fits me staggeringly well. Must have been made to have me in it. This is such a powerful idea that as the sun rises in the sky and the air heats up, and as gradually the puddle gets smaller and smaller, it's still frantically hanging on to the notion that everything's going to be all right because this world was meant to have him in it, was built to have him in it. So the moment he disappears, catches him rather by surprise. I think this may be something we need to be on the watch out for.
So you'll need to use at least one of the hammers to make your way through and get a lot of points. When you get the hammer, the fireballs turn from red to blue, and that's when you can destroy them. When the hammer runs out, the fireballs turn back to red, and you must avoid them. Remember that when you have the hammer, you cannot jump, so be sure you have a yellow piece in front of you, not an open space, because you won't be able to jump over it and you'll fall through and die. Now once you walk over all 8 pieces, Kong will fall and you will get the girl and win. Screen 3 involves jumping from non-moving platforms to vertically moving spaces, which I'll call elevators. Jump to the first elevator and ride almost to the top, and jump off at the platform, and jump onto the next elevator down and go to the bottom. It is important to begin your jumps to a down-moving elevator before the elevator is even with you. If you wait until it is even with you, by the time your jump is completed, the elevator will be too far below you and you will not survive the jump. Any jump down that is farther than 2 floors or levels is too great a distance for you to land safely. You will die. Also, when moving from platform to elevator, be sure you have your joystick pushed in the desired direction as well as the jump button pushed, or else you will simply land back on the platform instead of onto the elevator. Now, when you get to the bottom, jump off. But now you have broken pieces of land going up, so you have to jump from piece to piece to piece. Then, as you will notice, there will be an eye falling from the top to the bottom that you don't want to hit you. So in order to avoid it, you must time your moves. Right when the eye passes by you, jump 2 or 3 times and go to the ladder. Go up the ladder and again time your move. As the eye passes you again, immediately jump 2 or 3 times and you will make it to the next ladder. Continue this way and finally climb the last ladder to the top. Stay there. Remember, you are safe as long as you have one hand on the top rung of the ladder. Nothing can hit you there. So then, just after the eye bounces over your head, run past the ladder under the girl and go to the plate over the second elevator shaft. Stay there. You must run past the ladder under the girl to avoid the falling eye. Then, just as the eye bounces over your head again, run back to that ladder, under the girl, and climb up to her. Since this is a middle screen, Kong will then carry the girl off and the next screen will appear. Screen 4 is called the Pie Factory and involves fireballs, pies, conveyor belts, and Donkey Kong at the top. Begin the screen by going to your right and up the first ladder you get to. This is important. This will cause fireballs to be sent over at you on the left side of the screen only, leaving the right portion of the screen clear. The idea is for you to try to stay on the right side of the screen as much as possible. The conveyor belts will be moving the other way. So when on a conveyor belt, you must keep jumping back toward the right side. To move on a conveyor belt, you must use both the joystick and the jump button. The joystick alone cannot move you. Now once you're on a conveyor belt and you're going left, try to jump back to the next ladder on the right and climb to the top. Now pies will come at you from outside of the screen, moving along on the conveyor belt in the same direction as the conveyor belt. So again, try to get to the ladder on the far right by jumping as fast as you can and avoiding the fireballs and pies. Pies move along on the conveyor belt and are very hard to jump over and avoid. So it's important to get to the ladders so that the pies will pass under you. Otherwise, whenever a pie comes out, it will most likely get you. Remember to stay to the right. When you begin the screen, if you do not go up the first ladder on your right, fireballs will come out at you from both sides of the screen and you'll have no clear sight. Your chances of success will be diminished considerably. Now, you are able to try to get up to the same level as Kong. You will want to use the collapsing ladder to do this. When you get up to his level, the screen will end. There is also a middle screen, and if you make it through, you will go on to the next and final screen, the cave-in. The screens get progressively harder by getting faster and adding more obstacles for you to conquer. So as you go from one screen to the next, be aware that it will be faster, with faster moving obstacles and more of them.
I need to read something to you from notalwaysright.com. Customer: your pumps are a lot slower than they used to be. It never used to take this long to pump $20 of gas. Me: the pump speed hasn't decreased, it just takes longer to get to $20 now that the price of gas is half of what it used to be. Customer: well, I wish it would go up again so I could fill up faster. Oh!